Washington football. Woo! Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Burgundy Zone. I am your host, Kyle, and I'm joined by my co-host, Michael Reed. Hall should be here any second now, but the Burgundy Zone is a part of the Frederick Podcast Network. You can find out more by going to www.listenfrederick.com, and the title of this episode is The Inevitable. And speaking of the inevitable, we thought we'd bring in our boy, Mr. Felix Trammell. Thank you so much for joining us and blessing us on this Sunday morning, sir. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Nice to be here. Good to see y'all, fellas.
Yeah, and a lot of news happened this week, Felix. Not only did Washington let go of Jack Del Rio, but they also let go of Brent Wieselmeyer. It got reported that Christian Garcia will be taking over as the DB's coach. What was your immediate reaction to that news? Like the title of this episode, I think it was inevitable given the stats. You know, obviously 32nd in points per game, 30th in pass yards. Obviously something needed to happen there.
Yeah, I mean, the goal of the Harris unit was to make it all the way through the season, but it just got to the point where you just had to do something. I mean, it just got worse and worse. And it's one thing to lose, but it's another thing to be outclassed. And I think the defense was starting to be outclassed. And once there's the scheme is kind of defeated, the players are defeated because they don't believe in what's going on. When they're thinking, they're questioning, they're talking. You shouldn't be talking in November. There's no talk in November. There's let's get up and go. It's go time. But there's a lot of conversation. So it lends itself to it. You just had to. I mean, 2 listless performances in 5 days versus 2 division opponents. I mean, something had to fall. And so I think it was definitely inevitable. But they were trying to hold out till the end of the season, but you had to make a move. It was bad.
Yeah. So there's a lot of talk right now about different Commanders players that have been fan favorites for a long time, that a lot of the fan base is just straight up like Terry McLaurin sucks. Terry McLaurin's not good anymore. What are your thoughts on it? Do you think that this is Terry actually regressing and taking a step back, or do you think that this is just kind of the way that the offense has been? Sometimes you have those years where players don't produce.
Well, it's a microcosm of a few things. You have a young quarterback, you have a new offense, you have an offense in Eric Bieniemy that doesn't feature one person. If you go back and look and honestly look at Kansas City and look through those years, Kelsey was kind of the most featured person. Mm-hmm. Tyreek was kind of those broken plays. Oh, look, there's the fastest guy in the league running down the field. Let me just throw it up there. And so if you go to the Mecole Hardmans and all those other receivers there, you don't remember a lot of names at the receiver position for Kansas City. Mm. So it's a lot that goes into that, but I don't think Terry's regressed. Now, I do think there's ways he can be contained, and teams are focusing on him more than they ever did because they know that is the best offensive weapon that the Commanders have. So there's a lot that goes into that. He's being schemed. He's been doubled a lot more than people realize. Even, they're like, well, he's being locked up, and there's a safety not too far away. Right. So as a quarterback, I'm not going to force him the ball because I'm trying to do the right thing. And so I get it to the next available person, which most of the time the season has worked, but that means it's not necessarily Terry. So there's a lot that goes into that. So I think he has to be schemed more. People have to understand that people are respecting him. Okay. And he is not Justin Jefferson. He is not A.J. Brown, these physically imposing guys. He's more of a Stephon Diggs type. And if you notice, Stephon Diggs is going to do some similar struggles in Buffalo because of scheme. And so that all that pays a difference. Does that mean Terry is regressed? No. That just means new offense, new quarterback, new coordinator, and being treated as a true number one. So there's a lot that goes into that. So fans are screaming like, look at A.J. Brown. But teams aren't dumb enough to put Terry McLaurin on a 4th-string corner by himself. Teams won't do that. So, I mean, you got to understand that. Like, that there's a lot that goes into that. So people need to breathe. This is the overreaction super season right now, but people need to relax. Terry is fine. And like I said, there's a lot that goes into that, but he is not the Megatron, I'm just physically dominant over everybody
Right.
type of receiver. So we have
Julio
to treat him like that.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I always use the argument when I see that on Twitter. I'm like, well, if you go look at Travis Kelce's numbers right now, do you think Travis Kelce just all of a sudden sucks now? Like he's just having a down year. Like players have down years. It is what it is. But speaking of that young quarterback you're talking about, Sam Howell, obviously he's been up and down all year. He's had a couple games, a good stretch of games for the past couple of weeks, and obviously he kind of faltered against the Giants. But where are you at on Sam Howell? Because it looks like this team's going to be picking somewhere between the top 5, 6, 7 picks. And with this quarterback class coming out, where are you at on Sam Howell? Do you think he needs to prove a little bit more down the stretch, or do you think he should be the guy going into 2024 as of right now?
If I was running a team, he would be my guy because I've seen him in the league. Now, when you see these guys in college, like two years ago, Bo Nix was absolutely terrible. If you watched the Iron Bowl 2 years ago, Bo Nix could not throw a first down. And so he went to a different offense, and now he's just hotter than fish grease. But I can't forget those times of him playing at Auburn or Michael Phoenix when he was in Indiana. Same thing. I saw him against Ohio State. I saw him against Michigan. Then, I go see him, and then he's playing Washington State, and he's playing Utah State or Utah, and then he's doing better. So the reason I would say I go with Sam Howell is because I've seen him do it in the league. Like there's doing it in college, then there's doing it in the pros. It's a projection. So knowing the holes that I have on this roster, I would like to get the most talent I can acquire. So if I'm picking 6th and 7th and the best offensive tackle sitting there, I'm taking that because the Commanders have not done that forever. Put capital in the offensive line. If the best available player is a linebacker, they did not put no talent there. You need to get the best talent that is available. If Bowers is sitting there at 7 or wherever you pick the best talent that's there because that's how you build a team. So you know what you have in Sam. So even if you say Sam is above average, let's say we're just going to say Segar, he's above average. He's above a random starter in the league. He's not Patrick Mahomes. He's an above average starter.
Look at Minnesota's all.
Look at Dak.
Yeah.
Dak is not this all world guy, but Dak is surrounded by a good offensive line.
Yep.
And top
playmakers. Yeah.
So if you build that around him, you already have something proven. So my thing is, I know the projection. I don't see those guys being all world. Just gotta have them. I don't see the Trevor Lawrences in out of that quarterback group. I don't see I don't see Deshaun Watsons. I don't see Lamar Jacksons. I see good guys. Now, don't get me wrong, they're talented guys, but there's not that world automatic changer. Heck, there's not even a CJ Stroud in this draft. To be completely fair, and so Caleb Williams is probably the most sure thing, but you're not going to get there. You're not going to be one. And then do you trade picks to go get that? Because now you're deficient everywhere else. So I think that's got to be the hacker. If you can't get Caleb, and outside of Caleb, I don't see a surefire bang, bang, bang. You build around Sam Howell because you've seen what he's done in the league with credible time. So you fix his biggest problem, the 5 men in front of him.
My man, Felix. My next question, we kind of talked about the Jack Del Rio firing, but I want to get this next one to you. Ron Rivera is taking over the defense. We have hypothetically talked, because in Rivera's presser, he said there are some things that he would do differently than Jack. Some people jumped on that and said, well, why didn't you do that before? But look, that's hindsight's 2020. We don't need to get into that. Do you expect any major changes, or do you think this is more so of like details inside of details kind of thing?
Well, I don't think there's not many details you can do in November. I think it's more of just play call and time because
that's what I meant.
Yeah. So I think you see more of that. So maybe on a 3rd and 5, corners aren't playing an 8-yard cushion because that's a Jack Del Rio special. It's 3rd and 5. Let's play 8 yards off. We don't want to get beat deep. Someone runs a stick route, first down. Like it's those sort of things. Or It's blitzing on a time you don't need to blitz. The few times he does blitz, or not blitzing when you see a quarterback struggling, or a third string quarterback who lives in his mother's basement. Just things like that. I think that's where you'll see the difference. I think he'll probably be more aggressive, which you live by the sword, die by the sword. Be aggressive, because being passive hasn't worked. So you might as well be aggressive. So I think that's where you'll see it. Like, it's not going to be, well, we're just going to switch to a 3-4 or a 3-3-5 stack, and we're going to you can't do that in November. No, you're going to see a more aggressive play calling style, just because the style, the bend don't break style, hasn't worked this year because it's broken. So I think that's where you're going to see it with Coach Rivera. Is you're just going to see he's going to try to light a fire by being more aggressive, and defenders will generally take that because they want to attack instead of be attacked.
Yep.
Yeah. By the way, shout out Tommy DeVito. In today's financial, you know what I'm saying? Living in your parents' basement while making six figures.
Oh,
that's honestly, you can't even hate on the guy for that. That's pretty smart. Yeah.
Not at all.
He still yells at his mom for not having the pizza ready on time, though.
I would too. I do that too when I go see my parents. If she overcooks the pizza rolls, I hate it when mom does that. It's so frustrating. But so this has kind of been a debate also on Twitter, X, whatever it is. It's Twitter. It's
Twitter.
The URL is literally still twitter.com. It's
right.
Twitter. Who are the blue chip players on this team? Are there any, or are there guys that you're like 100% you're building around? He's safe.
Guys I would build around, Terry, Brian Robinson, Payne, Allen, Fuller if he stays. Cosme is the only lineman that I would actually have on a starting line somewhere else in the league. Right. I haven't seen enough of KJ. I think KJ has a lot of potential. We've only seen like a game and a half, so I want to reserve judgment on KJ. Curl, because I think Curl is so underrated because people don't see the stats. But if you've noticed one thing about the defense, and the defense has been terrible, we used to get killed by tight ends. Tight ends used to destroy us. The Eagles would destroy us with tight ends.
It was an on-running joke for a while. Like, it was like, okay, cool.
Have you noticed this year, you don't hear tight ends' names.
Even last year.
That is Cameron Curl. That is Curl. So take it with a grain of salt. But the time that Ferguson caught the ball on Thursday night, he was covered by a linebacker. He wasn't covered by Curl. So I think that,
to your point, Felix, the one touchdown in New England was when the tight end was on Khaleke Hudson and not Curl, to your point.
Yeah. And so teams are actually finding ways to get Curl off that tight end because he does so well. So I think that would be my core group. There's some fringe guys like Dotson should be really close to being one of those guys, but that would be my core group. And a lot of other stuff can be fluid because, I mean, a lot of them are just Jags. I mean, not to be mean, they're good guys. They're decent NFL players, but they're Jags. So, I mean, that would be my core. That's 7 or 8 guys would be my core who I would build around. But as we've noticed now in the league, it's not a process. It's not a 3-4 year process. Look at Houston. It's not a process. It happens a lot quicker than we think.
Yep. Yeah. No, 100%. I mean, like you said, Houston, Bengals, even the Lions. I mean, obviously it took a couple years with the Lions, but they were acquiring talent while building around Jared Goff.
I mean, same with the Jaguars last year.
If it was anything, if there was any team worse than Washington, it was the Lions, as far as you're talking about talent. But they got the right coach, and they acquired talent.
And they spent a top 10 pick on an offensive lineman that solidified things up front for them as well, Felix.
Yeah, a guy who Kyle still owes me money for because he had a better career so far than Jackson Carman.
Shut up, man. We'll need to get into that.
But now, I guess kind of looking ahead, obviously when you're losing, all types of reports start coming out. And now I guess there's like a report out there that some of the players are mad that EB has all this power. They want Rivera to take some of the power back. With all that being said, obviously there's another report out today that obviously says Rivera is going to be fired. And
I do question if that was actually about EB, though.
Okay, either way. But it was and now there's a report out there that Washington looks like an attractive job coming up, and Rivera's probably going to get blown out. My question is about Sam Howell, basically. It'll be his third year in the league next year, and it looks like if EB's not retained, it'll be his third offense in 3 years. And that kind of goes to my point about the quarterback and the top 5 pick. But do you think that Sam Howell's going to be able to learn a new offense next year? Obviously, he learned a new offense this year and has kind of picked it up fairly quickly. But do you think that is going to be conducive for Sam Howell going forward if everything looks like it's going to happen and he'll be in 3 offenses in 3 years?
I think so. He is an extremely smart kid. I've seen, just talking with Sam, the way he processes information and he talks about scheme, he knows scheme. He knows football. So I don't think learning an offense would be that that's part of it. Other thing is learning your coordinator. And him and EB are learning each other. You as a quarterback, you kind of know 3rd and 3, this is what he's going to call. I already kind of know it. Like, that's the rapport that takes time. Knowing the plays and being able to spit out the verbiage is fine, but you got to understand in 3rd and 3, I'm calling this type of play because this is the attack that I want to do against this defense. That becomes like step 5, and that is a process, and that's a process that's happening now. But as far as like Sam's like acumen, he is a football guy. Like, just having off the cuff conversations with him and just asking questions like, on this play, what is your read here? And I was like, on this 3-by-1 stack, he's like, well, we call it this because this is how we identify blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, just that one question in passing in a locker room after a game about a play in the second quarter just shows me all about his mental acumen. So I think that's not a problem, but that's going to be a GM thing to decide, because honestly, I think where they fall in the draft will dictate what they do for Sam. So let's say Sam pulls off a couple of wins. Let's say they win a couple of wins and end up picking 10th. They're probably not going quarterback. Now, if you lose these last 5 and you're sitting 3 or 4, they're probably going quarterback. I think he can honestly dictate where they end up. And I think that is incumbent on Sam. But as far as learning a new playbook, he'll learn a new playbook, because regardless, even if they draft a new person, he will still be here. He's not going anywhere. He would still be a quarterback in Washington because he's on a 5th round contract, year 3.
Little Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers situation there, huh?
Yeah. So he's not going anywhere. So even if they drafted Caleb Williams, guess who would be sitting right there? Sam Howell. So he would have the ability to learn.
My man. Felix, to wrap this up, I only have a couple more questions for you, sir.
No,
but obviously, everyone has kind of talked about the GM search heading into the offseason. It got reported earlier today by Jay Jones on Twitter. I don't know the exact handle. I'm sorry if I forgot about that. But basically saying that this GM search here in Washington is looking very juicy, more so than it has in probably over a decade for possible GMs here. Is there anybody that you're eyeing that possibly you've heard that has interested and that you would want to be the GM here before we get into head coaches?
Name slips me right now, but there's an assistant with the Eagles who came from Kansas City. It's slipping my mind.
Andy Weidel?
Yes, Andy Weidel. There you go. The reason I like him, because that's someone who's worked with Eric Bieniemy. There's already a connection there. And so I kind of like connections to what you have. And if you have somebody who understands Eric Bieniemy's mind, he can understand how to draft according to his mind. So I like him because I think good football talent. Kansas City was able to find guys in the late rounds that were awesome contributors. Because that's how you win in the league today. Like, you do good with your first rounders, but you've got to hit on some late rounders. And honestly, Washington hasn't hit on many draft periods, period. So you need to have a guy that has those type of eyes. So that would probably be my kind of lead guy. But it's very attractive because you got a new owner. So new owners tend to spend more because they want to win. B, you have possibly a new stadium coming in the next few years. That's attractive. C, you have $90 million salary cap room. There's money. So, and there's an accumulation of draft picks with the sweat trade and
5 picks in the top 100.
Now you're going to have these 5 picks in the top 100 maybe, plus $90 million in salary cap, plus an owner that's eager to win with a historic franchise that's yearning to win. They're yearning. If you're 7-4 right now, there's a parade downtown. So you got it. That's what makes this whole position and job attractive. So I think that's why you're going to see some good young GMs come in and say, "I can fix this. I can come in and do this." And they know they'll have the backing of an owner who just wants to win.
Yeah,
if not, maybe Vinny Serrato can finally get a fair shake and come in here and turn things around.
Yeah, and a couple guys that really stand out. Adam Peters from the San Francisco 49ers, who interviewed for the Titans and Giants GM job. But also Ian Cunningham is who really jumps out at me as the Ozzie Newsome disciple. He was with the Philadelphia Eagles up until 2021. He's right now currently, in 1 year, has been with the Bears as assistant GMs. That's somebody that you'd really want to look at because he obviously has brought some talent with him over to Chicago. They've done better offensively. Obviously, give credit to DJ Moore.
And then maybe we can trade for Chase Claypool.
No, I don't think he was involved.
I know.
That.
I'm joking.
You know that was Poles. But that's not Poles. It's somebody else. But the last question I have for you, brother, looking at this football team, it's hard for me to be able to say this, but I have to ask your opinion on this. If you were the GM, Felix, what is the one player, you being an expert on the Commanders, saying this person would get us the most in return if you, the GM, wanted to be able to get as much assets as possible?
If I had to trade someone that would get us the team the most value, it would be Payne. He's younger, just signed a deal, violently disruptive, very quiet about his job. I think teams would jump at that. Okay. Receiver, I don't think Terry would bring the capital, which you would think Terry would. And Allen is just older. And I honestly think Allen's been playing through an injury this year. He is not as explosive. So I honestly would go with Daron Payne just because he would bring you the most value and get the most in return because he's younger. He just signed his deal. It's a very good deal, actually. If you look at it in the long run, it's a very team-friendly deal. And the guy just plays. So I think in other systems where he's allowed to shoot gaps more and attack, he would really turn a team around. So that would be, if it was one person I had to move, he would probably be the one. If I had to rank it, would go Payne, Terry, Jonathan Allen.
I would add in there that I think Sam Howell would be number one. And the only reason saying that is if a GM really wanted to blow things up, Felix, with that top 5 pick, like we talked about the quarterback, that's probably something somebody would be willing to pay for. But Felix, I can't thank you enough for joining us on this Sunday morning, sir. Hope you go enjoy your lazy Sunday, watch football, kick your feet back, and enjoy it, brother. You deserve it. Have a great one.
All right, fellas. Have a good one.
You too,
appreciate
brother.
it.
All right, everybody, we just spoke with the man, Mr. Felix Trammell. Always appreciate Felix's time to come on with us, be able to give us his intellect. Before we get into our fan questions,
so logical,
and talking about everything, Hall, your reaction to Jack Del Rio being fired with Brent Wieselmeyer and Rivera taking over the defense, how are you feeling?
I'm not gonna say I'm surprised. I honestly thought I would just let everyone ride out the rest of the season, just because we're on the back half of the season now anyway, back into the season. But I mean, after that performance, especially like to keep it within an arm's distance for 3.5 quarters and then just come out in the fourth quarter, just completely collapse. And you got them eating turkey legs on national TV. And for like, you know what I'm saying? I think that was like the final straw where it's like, all right, something's going to happen where these dudes planned out a celebration. We're going to do it before and say, you know what? We're going to get one more touchdown. We'll just wait till we get the next one. And then they go eat turkey wings and turkey legs on national TV in front of you. I mean, so I'm not surprised that he got fired. I was surprised to learn that the DB coach was like a high school coach. That blows my mind. But
hey, yeah, Sean Payton was too, technically.
Yeah.
Made a Netflix movie about it. Kevin James.
Well, remember he
was.
But
I'm not surprised.
Remember, he was the assistant DBs coach under Josh Harris,
under Jack Del Rio with the
Chris
Raiders.
I know. And the only time he's been in the NFL is literally working for Del Rio. So
right.
I should tell you all you need to know about that guy. But so yeah, I'm not surprised. Yeah, I'm not surprised. It was definitely warranted, and I will see what happens with the defense. I wouldn't be surprised to get like some type of random spark for like a little bit. But again, we're also playing Miami, so I expect there to be a track
Bloodbath.
race out there.
I
So
brought this up in the
we'll see.
chat regarding Miami because somebody did say in there that Rivera chose an interesting week in order to take over defensive play calling duties. And I'll say, well, it depends on how you look at it. Because they're such a good offense, if you're able to keep them with under 300 yards in total offense, people would say, wow, Rivera actually has this defense doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Or
You
he
know what
wants
I'm
to
saying?
old Yeller himself.
I think
Yeah.
honestly,
Or he's like, take me
it'd
out.
be more of it wouldn't even be about like, oh, Washington Rivera hasn't doing this. I guarantee you the storyline would be, oh, Miami's offense was off
Sputters.
today.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like there was something off about the offense. So.
You know how it is, Hall. You're smarter. You know how it is. You know, you're right. Now let's get into our fan questions. This one's from the Colonel. Sent me to this. I forgot to let him know that we were recording on Sunday this week. From now on, we're going to be trying to record on Sundays instead of Mondays. So be ready for that. That way you can enjoy your Sunday. If there's a lull in football, maybe you could turn this on and then be able to watch us for a little bit. But if not, it's all good, man. Most likely not, especially if you're that white rabbit guy who do not like us yelling at the fan base, which I understand. All Reed was trying to say is if you're blaming Josh Harris right now, you should probably look in the mirror a little bit and say you're probably not a very happy person. Chill out a little bit. That's all you were saying.
Not even that. It's just no, thank you. I mean, yeah, that is basically it. But it's also just like pump the brakes, guys.
Yeah.
Just calm.
Calm
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Now
a fat loser. I accept that. I know.
I know. Now,
I
this
know.
question from the Colonel Reed. He said, I predict Ron Rivera and EB will keep their jobs the rest of the year for one reason. Sam Howell. I think Josh Harris and company want to evaluate more before the 2024 draft. If Washington is to convince a new GM that Sam Howell is our quarterback, he needs to show out. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I think we kind of touched on that last episode. I agree with that. I mean, after that report today, right? When the report that came out today saying something about Rivera leaving or getting fired or something here soon. Very
there's
soon.
been reports of that for 3 years, dude.
Right. Yeah. I don't. I mean, that's what I would do. I would imagine like it's kind of a tough spot right now where like who do you put as head coach after that if once they're gone, and regardless they're gone, they're already gone, they're done, they're not going to be here past the season. As soon as the season ends, they're either going to let Rivera walk away and they're going to say we mutually agreed to part, or he's going to be fired. They're gone. So I don't think that there's any point. I think that you're right. I think that they do want to see more from Sam Howell, full season's worth. Really be, and even that's technically not enough, but it's enough for a 5th round pick to be like, okay, this is our guy, or we got to start looking elsewhere. So yeah, I think that that's really all you can do. That's what a good franchise I think would do. However, at the same time, it is warranted that Rivera's gone ASAP. So it is,
Yeah, look at it from Sam Howell's standpoint, right? Or he's saying I'm working to be the franchise guy here, or if a new GM does come in here, I'm working to possibly be traded to show that I am a starter somewhere in the league. There's other guys starting that shouldn't be. But that's a really good question, Colonel Hall. This next question from the Colonel. Whatever happened to Julie Donaldson? Is she still around?
Damn.
Yeah, I think she does something with like the Big 100, whatever the radio station is.
Yes, she does the play-by-plays for the radio.
Yeah, she's still in the radio booth, but I think her role got like I guess like
Diminished.
minimized a little, diminished and minimized a little bit too. No more like media stuff and all that. It's just literally just like the radio calls and whatnot. So
she's
I
no
would
longer
assume
the head of the media for the Commanders. She's
Exactly.
more so doing the just play-by-play on the radio with Bram and London Fletcher calling the games, and I'm pretty sure she's doing the pre and post game shows as well. If she's not.
Right. Yeah, so I mean, she's more behind the scenes and like on the radio now, as opposed to like out in the media and like because she's the
Doing
head of like the
everything.
media for the team and whatnot.
Yeah.
So she's still there, just kind of working behind the scenes type of thing.
Yep. Now this next question is on Twitter from a really good fan of this football team, Mrs. Kim Parkhurst, who is a lot in the spaces with Deuce and others that you can come find and check us out. But read this question from her: what great GMs are out there from which teams?
That's tough. I don't know many guys' names because I'm bad with names. I barely even know who my son is. So, I mean, we touched on some guys a little bit, but what you want to like, it seems like anybody that would be learning under somebody like Howie Roseman is somebody that you want to bring in. Anybody with, the 49ers teams, and that's always kind of been the case. But at the same time, you've seen those type of things not work out, like guys from Baltimore, guys from New England getting jobs places, and it's just kind of like then all of a sudden stuff goes down. But I mean, you really don't have a choice but to get with somebody who's been around winning and who's been around team building and who's got a young, fresh mind. I think that that's what you want. I think that the next person that we bring in is going to be very analytical. I think that Josh Harris puts a lot of emphasis on that, and the other teams that he owns and with who he brought in here. That the Harvard grad, I almost said the Asian boy, the Harvard grad, the Yale grad, whatever.
Sheen.
Yeah, Sheen. He's very analytical. So I think you're going to get somebody in here who aligns with that. If that was one of the first moves Josh Harris made, I think that that's very telling.
Yeah, but the other guy that I talked about Andy Weedle, Kim, with Felix, and that wasn't Andy Weedle that I was referring to. I think that was Ian Cunningham, who Felix was referring to. But Andy Weedle right now has been working with the Steelers, and he actually interviewed to be the GM of the Steelers over Amar Khan, but then they chose Amar Khan, and he chose to actually be the assistant GM under Amar Khan. And obviously Josh Harris coming from the Steelers, that's somebody you can look at, and that's a hot commodity name that you'd really want to be able to go out and look for because he's also an Ozzie Newsome guy. I'm all about that. Anybody that is under Ozzie Newsome, let's kick the tires on that and let's get it going. They are built a certain way in the self of scouting, but that's also why I believe in Ian Cunningham, who is an Ozzie Newsome disciple. He's been with Philly until 2021, who obviously everywhere he's gone, there has shown to be blossom of production of assets, along with Adam Peters from the 49ers, and who's been under, who Mike Lynch, as soon as John Lynch was hired, he plucked Peters away from the Broncos and brought him on as his head guy of football operations all throughout that time. And now he's the second commander. He's another hot commodity name that's going to be there. So this is a really good year. I would say personally, it's not like I'm an expert on the situation, but it seems like it's a really good year to be looking for a GM. And Washington is playing with house money, given with having possibly over $90 million in cap space with the draft picks available and with the situation permitting with the ownership. This is a really hot, good opportunity for Washington to really make a name and to say this is the right path to set on because there's a lot of good candidates.
Yeah, I'll throw another name into the mix for a defensive coordinator. Jerry Sandusky.
No, but another name I would, I don't know his name, but another guy from an organization I would definitely take a look at is, I would say anyone from like the Seattle Seahawks, like tree, like that like system up there, because they're known for finding guys like undrafted guys, late round guys, developing them and becoming like role players or good players for them. And it seems like year in and year out, they're constantly, like I said, finding guys in the later rounds, and they're just like one of those franchises where, like I said, they just like they're always like competitive because of they might not get the top tier talented guys in the draft, but they make the most out of their draft picks and what they do. So
there might have been a candidate, JoJo, I forget his last name, but he interviewed with us in 2021 for the Commander's job. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's the guy who was with the Seahawks for a good period amount of time. If it wasn't him, it's one of the three guys. And Mike Borgonzi, who has been with the Kansas City Chiefs for 14 years. And obviously, Felix talked earlier about the connection with Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid. Obviously, Borgonzi is another guy that would obviously fit the bill in that.
I think there's some ex-Panthers GMs out there as well that we could bring in.
I don't think so. Not at all.
Now, also, another thing real fast about the Seahawks is it's not just like those guys were good because they had a franchise quarterback like Russell Wilson. Like immediately when Russell Wilson left, they scouted, they brought in Geno Smith, they saw what he could do, and they're like, we got another quarterback there. So that's kind of what you want, is that consistency where it's not just Tom Brady, Bill Belichick. That's kind of making you as good as you are. It's,
they turned Richard Sherman and Doug Baldwin, guys like that, into household names who, they came out of Stanford. Nobody was looking at them like, oh, these are guys are going to be world beaters in the NFL.
Right.
They made them household names. So, yeah, Seahawks always are good at drafting and developing guys.
They also turned Brandon Browner into an amphetamine addict, so that's cool.
Stupid. In my pre-draft eval, I equated Jahan Dotson before we drafted him, but I equated him to Doug Baldwin, and that's obviously somebody that Jahan could really emulate and mimic in terms of long-term production. Because, man, Doug Baldwin won me a fantasy championship. I'll always appreciate that guy. Thank you, Kim. That was a fantastic question. The next question on Twitter is from Miel Stefano. How much can Ron Rivera change the defense, Hall? As head coach, doesn't he have final say on what JDR plans for each game?
Yeah, but it's been known that Ron is like more of like a delegator, and he kind of lets his coordinators, like obviously he's part of the game plans. I'm sure he's in the meetings, putting his input in there and whatnot, but he's more of like a hands-off guy more than a hands-on guy, where he lets his coordinators kind of run their side of the ball, and he defers to them whenever they have a decision or a game plan. But I think we talked about it with Felix as far as like just being a little bit more aggressive, maybe. Maybe like he said, like more like detail oriented as far as like on 3rd and 5, let's not play 8 yards off the receiver. So yeah, that's just like small things like that, I think. So I don't know. Like I said, we'll see. It's still the same players, same scheme for the most part, because like we talked about, you can't really switch schemes in the middle of back end of the season. So yeah, I would assume that it's going to be a little bit more aggressive. Guys are going to be hopefully a little bit more detail oriented, and maybe we'll see Ron Rivera unfold his arms and actually light a fire under some players' asses like he was known to do in Carolina.
Can you guys please stop with the unfolding
It
of
was a
arms thing?
joke.
my
It's so
God.
funny.
It has been
It's
beaten like
so
a
funny 'cause
it's
it's
been
so
beaten like a
true.
dead horse, and it's just so annoying. Like every
It's
head
never
coach
going to go.
crosses
It's
his
not going
arms,
to.
Never
bro.
gonna go away.
It's never going to go away
Just accept it.
until Ron
Embrace the
Rivera's
meme.
gone.
You
So
guys just
just
like convinced yourselves that head coach is supposed to be sitting out there like the inflatable arm man. It's like
Yeah.
sitting
Yeah.
out there the whole game, like, hey
He
guys,
should. I want
keep going.
I want my head coach
Keep
flicking
going.
off fans and spearing.
I don't really care about the whole arms thing. It's just funny to me. It just
I
makes
know.
me
It's
laugh.
funny because like it's undeniable that he looks checked out. Like he does look checked out when he's standing there. Just
I mean,
He does though.
it's so funny.
at
It's so
this
funny.
point,
He
wouldn't
looks
you
like he's
be?
just staring
Yeah,
off into
100%. I'm not blaming Ron.
most of the
I'm
time. He just
saying.
looks like he's staring off into like nothingness. Just
Yeah, he's just like I wonder if
where
I
am I?
left,
What?
I wonder
It's
if
because
I
he's
left that
watching.
goddamn
'Cause
oven
nobody
on.
wants to witness their defense get raw dogged.
He
up and
does
down
though.
the
He's
field
just like,
all
huh?
day.
Wonder what I'm gonna eat for dinner tonight. That's probably
Yeah.
what he's thinking.
He's like, I wonder if it's
Don't
too
say
early
that,
to start
'cause now
watching
people are gonna
Christmas
run with
movies.
it. Don't
I
say
wonder-
that. Don't say. People are gonna run with it.
All 6
honestly-
people that watch our show are gonna.
Honestly, Miss Stefano, how much can Ron change the defense? He can't do all that much, but I think this year they have ran more man coverage than they have any year before. I think maybe taking take a little bit off the gas pedal, so to speak, in that regard is probably a smart thing, and letting us go more so in zone that benefits Kendall Fuller a heck of a whole lot. I know Emmanuel Forbes would benefit from it. Most likely not going to be playing in this game after being hurt, just from bumping into Cam Curl. But I think it benefits his defense to be able to be aggressive in the sense of attacking the line of scrimmage, and we haven't seen much of that. Like we said last week, they lost in the trenches there, and that's something that I don't think Ron Rivera sits well with him, and I think that he's going to, like Felix said, be more attacking style, but I think it's more details inside the details. Like instead of being on 3rd and 3, instead of having Jamin Davis be put on Saquon Barkley, he would put Cam Curl on there and allow Jamin to be on the tight end, who most likely is not going to be targeted there, sort of kind of thing. And so I would expect little small, minute details, and that goes into the sense of why Ron Rivera isn't going to change Jack Del Rio in that regard. Like, obviously, Ron Rivera could have some differences in philosophy with Jack Del Rio, but if they talk about it, Jack Del Rio is going to say, well, this is why I think that it'll benefit, and I trust this guy to be able to do this. What's Ron going to say? No, that guy sucks. You can't do that. Like, I know you want him to say it, but obviously he's going to think optimistically in that sense, and obviously things just have not progressed. They have not gotten better, and something did need to happen. I think that people are trying to pry.
We're still learning, Kyle. We're still learning.
No, it's just people are trying to pry in any sort of reason at all to find an issue with something. And at the end of the day, if you were to put in a room with Jack Del Rio and talking defense, a lot of people would struggle being able to tell Jack Del Rio what else to do. And
I'm telling you what, if you're in a room with Jack Del Rio and you're talking defense, you're missing a golden opportunity. I would be like, what happened January 6th? What do you feel happened? Come on, man. Tell me what happened with the boys getting all rowdy.
But that's basically why it's just not wanting to change anything like that, because it's going to just create problems, so to speak, all in all. Like if your boss, like let's say like Hall with our company, like you work under Henry. Right, you've been listening to Henry, and let's say that Kane or Matt comes in and starts telling you, no, this is what we're going to be doing now. Change that up. Don't listen to him. That's going to create animosity, not only between Henry and the people of the brass, but it's also going to create animosity between the brass and you guys, because you're going to be going to Henry like, hey, man, this stuff's not going right, and they're telling us to do it, so I'm trying to listen to you. And that's why Ron Rivera can't do that in season, can't just take control of things, because it creates social issues, and that social aspect is very important in this regard. Just my opinion, you know. Now, the next question is from Jeff Pastor on Twitter. He said, I know it's far-fetched, Hall, but do you think Ryan Kerrigan will get a shot at being a defensive coordinator next year?
No.
Very cut and dry, no. No, I agree with you.
No, I mean, honestly, like, I think that he's just getting into, like, the coaching world. Like, this is his first full year. I don't think that he's going to get promoted, like, fast-track that quickly to be a defensive coordinator. I think it'll take a couple years, but I mean, down the line, I could definitely see maybe him like getting an interim job somewhere, and then like some defensive coordinator gets fired, he gets an interim job, and then maybe takes over like after that. But yeah, like I said, he's got into the coaching world, so I don't see him getting fast tracked to a defensive coordinator that quickly.
No, not unless Dan Snyder is running the team. And then
That's
he
true.
possibly would, and that would make a lot of sense. Like he would do it after hiring the GM. Like he'd be the one making the decision to put Kerrigan up there. But no, I think Kerrigan is very smart. But and in the same breath, look at this defense. Can you say that the defense has progressed enough to say Ryan Kerrigan warrants a coordinator job? And that question in its reality, I don't think Kerrigan's a bad defense assistant. But that being said, like obviously Scanina has been the head guy on the defensive line. He would get the nod over Ryan Kerrigan, right? That's the guy that probably has more responsibility there. So do I think it's realistic next year? Probably not, but I do think it's realistic that he could be possibly interviewing for assistant defensive coordinator job, maybe controlling like, you know, the ground game or passing game or something like that, or pass rush.
Probably some high school coaches out there that deserve a shot as well, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some former high school DB coaches.
Right. Yeah. We can dip into that Damascus talent pool. We can say, boys, time to come on up. And they would say, you know what they did to Jack Del Rio, though? And he'd say, Jesus Christ. Never mind.
Reed, you
I'm
gonna
calling
answer?
for all the commanders, the woke commanders. That
I'm
dude
not
was
going to
weird.
answer because I refuse to engage in chit chat. You know, if ands and buts, Christmas would be nothing but a bunch of candies and nuts. You know what I'm saying? So, no, I don't know. I don't even remember the question, but you guys hit the nail on the head.
Good job. Now this next question is from the Discord, our boy Chris Comerton. Do you think Ron's trying to put himself in position to audition for the DC job after this season, Reed?
Do I think Ron is?
Yeah.
No. I don't think has that ever happened in the history of football where a coach is like, you know what? This is too much for me. I'm not cut out for this. Move me, regress me, demote me. Put me.
It wasn't even that funny, but just the thought of it, you're right. It is
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
Think of it. I mean,
I don't think that's ever happened.
Sean
Yeah.
McVay's probably the only one that possibly wanted it, you know, when he was like kind of like, this is a bit too much for me.
It is a little much, yeah. Our GM really fucked us here. I didn't really,
But
we
like,
don't have
no,
any young guys.
no, you're right. But no, I think that this is Ron Rivera's way of kind of, Chris, to take your question seriously. I think this is a way for Ron Rivera to kind of say, to let everyone know that he hasn't, the game hasn't passed him by. He maybe trusted people and was too loyal to people for too long. And this last stretch of games is his way of trying to prove and to give something back to this team as much as he possibly can, because wins obviously didn't come. Playoff wins didn't come of it, but I guess this is his way of kind of saying, look, I'm not completely out of it if I'm able to turn things around a little bit. And I guess for a personal thing on his way out, like if you're about to retire, wouldn't you want to know you still got it, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Especially when the
I think that
narrative the last 4 years has been that the game's passed him by.
Yeah, but no, I don't like Reed said, I don't think he's just like, you know what, this is a little bit too much for me. I'm just going to take a demotion. But I do think that, like Kyle said, I think he's just trying to show people like, hey, this is my last ride. This is my last hoorah. I still got it. I'm going to try to go out on a high note. But as far as like being the DC next year, yeah, I mean, it's already been reported that the Harris Group wants to pretty much get rid of anything and everything majority that was Dan Snyder related. So I would assume that Ron Rivera, unfortunately, probably falls under that file.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That was a great question. I appreciate you, brother. We don't have any other questions besides Arch's, who was, did any of you play football over the holiday? No, I did not. Wish I would have. I wanted to work out, man. I was telling my uncle, I was like, I miss being like that tired, muscle tired on Thanksgiving. You know, when you eat a whole bunch, you just feel better afterwards. Kind of like Reed. Kind of like Reed after New Year's Eve.
Yeah, why is that?
I don't know. I don't want
what-
to bring it up. I don't want to.
Yeah, yeah, I didn't. I'm what you call a fat, almost middle-aged guy at this point. I'm like, I can't do it anymore. I would if somebody invited me to a turkey ball. Invites there, guys. I would go out there. I'd probably drop dimes all over the field, to be honest with you. But the old playing days are over. They ended at
Reed
about the
is
tender
one of
age
those
of
guys
8.
that you see at the bar. You talk about the turkey bowl with, and they're like, "Yeah, dude, definitely hit me up. I'm gonna go.
And then
I'm
I
gonna
don't
be there. I'm
show
gonna
up.
be there."
Oh yeah, of course I do.
No, not,
That's
not
literally
only that, you don't even answer your phone. Like
yeah,
you just
because
like
I get anxiety about it. I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck, I shouldn't have made these plans. I shouldn't have promised this.
You're
And then
that
all of a
guy.
sudden- yeah. And then I
Just
just don't
goes
answer my
goat for
phone
a whole
'cause-
week. He's just like, oh, sorry.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. My phone broke.
Oh, the turkey bowl that was last week. Oh,
Oh,
damn.
shit!
Damn, my
I'm
bad, bro.
sorry.
Yeah.
But boys, to wrap up this episode real quick, what did you guys have? Favorite dishes from over Thanksgiving? Anything crazy that happened to you? Anything?
Lindsay's grandma got COVID for like the 3rd time. So like,
Good.
what I'm saying is, what does she know on the Chinese government? What is going on? What does she have on these boys? But yeah, we were. It was it was just us at home. Made a turkey for the first time, crushed it. Made my world famous pumpkin pie, crushed that. Lindsay made some fantastic green beans, crushed it. So I mean, we just we had just a makeshift Thanksgiving. We just put a bunch of stuff together, and I was thankful for. I don't want to say. I'm not going to reveal my life.
Okay, okay, bro. That got really weird really quick. Obviously, for me, it's always the sweet potatoes with the marshmallows. My mom, dude, my mom always kills Thanksgiving. It's so freaking good. My dad destroyed the turkey. It was moist gang, bro. You don't know about that. And obviously the ham was just off the charts. And then my brother-in-law BK and my sister Grace, they had the idea of going to Texas Roadhouse to get their buns for Thanksgiving dinner. And I didn't know that was happening until I got my plate and they told me, and I was like, oh, wow.
Did they have the cinnamon butter sugar with
Yep,
it?
they had tubs of it, bro. Tubs of it, yeah.
Oh, that's
That
so
You
good.
just had to make it at
lit.
home. Like you just had to make it at home. Obviously, the difference. But I was like, dude, better than regular buns. Like I love the
Yeah.
Hawaiian buns or whatever, but still, like this is
Yeah.
awesome.
Did
So,
you
yeah.
get caught munching the butter just straight at
No,
any point? No, you don't do that. Me neither.
no. My
Me
son
either.
did. They made gingerbread houses, and Cash, I'm not kidding you, was like straight just taking bites out of his house as he was building it.
Hell yeah, dude.
As my wife would.
Good for cash, man. That's what I used to do. I don't care. I just right through the roof in the chimney, and you just keep going. Eventually, you huff and you puff, and you blow that front door down. So
Yeah, you're
I
absolutely
just
right.
ate a bunch of macaroni and cheese. My mom makes like some fire ass macaroni and cheese. So not like a big like Thanksgiving food person. Like I mean, I like it's not stuffing. I like dressing, and I like I'm not a big turkey. So it's dry. Not a big ham person. Like yeah, but
What?
basically just smashed a bunch of macaroni and cheese because
You're hanging
I
out with
love
people
macaroni
that
and cheese.
don't. You just gotta know how. You gotta go to the right place to get a good ham and a good turkey. And honestly, if anyone is complaining about dry turkey, dry stuffing, the Lord invented gravy for a reason. That's why
There
it's
you go.
there to help out.
Actually,
And so-
randomly, I didn't even eat any like dressing this like entire Thanksgiving week. I don't even like trying to think of
you don't
anybody
call
even
it
like
stuffing,
making.
you call it dressing. My bad. Now
I
you've
know.
checked out. Now
Coach
Okay.
Curl, he got on me. He was
Yeah.
like, dressing. What's stuffing? We don't call that shit stuffing.
Mhm.
yeah, and anybody that talks
I've-
crap about green bean casserole, you got to come try my
Dude,
mom's green bean
green bean
casserole.
casserole. I want your mom's green bean casserole. Green bean casserole is my favorite.
Yeah,
I
she
am-
actually does it with
which
the
is
cream
weird
of-
because you look at me and you wouldn't think green beans is something that I eat, but green bean casserole is pretty good.
Yeah, my
Never
mom
have I
actually
ever.
uses the cream of onion, obviously broth and everything like that, puts into it. It's
Ooh.
really freaking good, man.
Yeah, I bet it is.
All right, everybody, that's gonna
You know the difference between a black Thanksgiving and a white Thanksgiving?
Yeah,
green bean
what-
casserole.
Green bean casserole. Bang,
Yeah.
bang. You got it.
I'm
Yeah,
telling you,
I'm
dude,
out.
you
Hell yeah.
say that, but I'm telling you would really enjoy my mom's. I'm telling you, it's really good.
Green
All
bean
right, everybody.
casserole.
Honestly, I don't know. I've
rules.
never even
Green bean
tasted green bean casserole.
rules.
Oh.
Green bean
I've never
casserole.
even tasted it. I just point at and laugh every time I see it. So,
You just you say, yeah.
yeah.
Green bean casserole rules. Collard greens suck. Come on.
You just disrespected every black viewer of this.
You're just
of this
trying to
podcast.
ruin this
Collard greens are the
episode,
best.
dude.
Yeah,
You're
well,
just killing it.
we're making jokes about white Thanksgiving.
All All right, dude. All right, everybody. It's going to wrap us up for this episode. We are now going to be recording on Sundays and Thursdays. So just the brief change from Mondays to Sundays, just to be able to help out a little bit around the house. Mama Bear has been hurting a little bit on the weeknights and needs a little help here. So we are going to do that for her because she does enough for it. She's a freaking champion. She deserves it. All right, everybody. We'll see you on Thursday. I'm Kyle.
Ree doesn't like Black Thanksgiving for everyone out there.
That's what I heard.
What?
That's what I heard.
What? That's not true. I just never experienced it because
Who are
I don't
you,
want to steal.
Keith?
I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want to steal your culture. I have to. Stay my own lane.
You better go back in your
I
Twitter
can't-
history.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that was so funny.
That was
I'm sorry,
funny.
but that was.
It was funny. Keith survived, though.
I know.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, I'm not gonna lie.
Well,
like,
it's easy to survive when you don't.
I kept
comment.
checking back to be like, this is gonna be some crazy drama, and it was nothing.
It
popped
was
off.
very funny that the
That
dude
was
also
good.
called
That
out
was good.
Chris Bryant like Chris Bryant isn't mixed. Like that was the funny part to me.
Yeah.
I laughed at that.
Yeah.
That was a good chuckle.
Yeah.
All right,
Also, a
everybody.
lot of people know Keith though. Keith's a good dude. People change.
That's questionable. All right, everybody.
Hey.
We'll see you on Thursday. Have a
Jesus.
great, safe week.
You're
Enjoy it.
offending everybody.
We'll see you then. Washington football. Woo!
Holla.
What's up, everyone? This is Kyle from the Burgundy Zone. We are releasing our own merch to support the show. If you want to rock the Burgundy Zone logo or you want to see Reed's face on your shirt, we got it. We're starting with t-shirts, hoodies, and zip-up. So if you're a fan of the show, make sure you snag one before they are gone. Check out the link in our bio on Instagram, or you can find the link in the description of the video. Thanks again for all your support. Until next time.